Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. They'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. They'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact
the
Radio.
truth.
We have arrived. First Contact. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Glad you could be back here. Let's check out where we're at today. Today is the 3rd of April, Thursday. You can see that we have two signs here that we're going between, and that transition just occurred not more than an hour or so ago. 6:48 a.m. we had this transition in which we went from Taurus as a moon sign to Gemini. So we changed from an earth sign into an air sign. Earth is the form of things, and air becomes words, actions, the expression that moves. Think of how air moves. So we have two signs we're working with today. The air, the unconscious mind, the words and the action that are stirring beneath the surface, and the fire of Aries on the conscious mind, which is bringing forth those ideas, putting them in order, and leading us on a pioneering effort. So as we move forth today, we see that we have one aspect that is a square that we want to be aware of, and this is a square between the sign of Neptune and the moon sign, and the moon sign being Gemini. So Gemini and Neptune, what we have there is something of an opportunity to get a new perspective on things through the way in which we communicate with others. Okay, so the lesson there is a square. Remember, squares are lessons. Trines are nice positive energies that flow between the two, and squares show that there is some sort of a lesson that needs to be learned, a block that is in the way so we can move forward. And with Neptune, we have the opportunity to look at things from a new perspective. In Tarot, the card related to that would be the Hanged Man, which is about suspending our mind, that we might be able to see things in a different way. Alright, moving from there, we could see that what we're going to see tonight in the sky. It says, with binoculars or telescope, North America can watch the waxing crescent moon crossing the Hades star cluster. The moon's dark earth-lit limb will occur 3, 4th to 5 to 5th magnitude stars, depending on where you are. And if we look at this map here to see what we're looking at, April 3rd, there's Aldebaran, Pleiades. So as we look into the sky, these are the stars that we're going to be looking for, the planets. The current moon phase is 17% full, making its way up to the full moon. The Mayan Oracle is at a 12-tone day. 12 tones are the crystal tones of cooperation. Today, the sign is the eagle, which is all about vision. So today would be the crystal vision, the cooperation of our vision with our higher self, connecting it in to that higher self. The hand, about accomplishment, reminds us that with our hands we can heal or we can kill, depending on how we wish to use our hands, our ability to do the things we wish to do in life. The seed is the like-minded energy today, which is also the theme. So as we've gone through this whole process here, this theme of the seed, we come back down to the vision, being reminded again that our theme of the seed is part of the vision that we are putting forward. And of course, with the 12 tones being one step away from the last tone of the wave spell, It is the time where we assess where we've been and where we're going, because when we get to the 13th tone, we jump off into the next theme, to the next wave spell. The phrase for today is I dedicate in order to create universalizing mind. I seal the output of vision with the crystal tone of cooperation. I am guided by the power of accomplishment. And today is the last of those 10 days in a row, those 10 intense days where the galactic activation portals or the energies are synchronizing in such a way that they provide a little bit more intensity to what's going on around us. Things will smooth out a little bit now as we get past this. Spaceweather.com. Our solar wind is currently at 378.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is in the quiet range, sitting at the 2 at the moment. Our coronal holes we could see, but there really isn't anything there at the moment. A few little spaces where we can kind of see that the energy or the filament's a little bit thin, but nothing of a big significance as a whole that we've seen in the past. M-class flare possibilities dropped down to 40%. It was 60 or 55 the other day. X-class has certainly dropped down as well to 5. And our geomagnetic storm activity has definitely dropped down as well. In some cases down as low as 1%. All because what we experienced with this, as it shows up here, the CME that came our way did not hit the Earth. No, forecasters have downgraded the chance of a geomagnetic storms on Monday the 3rd to only 1%. This was after a CME that came the other day, so nothing going on there. We go over to our numerology for today, and today is a 5-day. The numerology for today is a 5. This is based according to the Gregorian calendar here. Let's see how we got at that. We have a 4 for the month, 3 for the day, 2014, which is a 7. Add them all together, we come up with 14. 1 plus 4 equals 5. 5 is the number for today, the numerology. Here would be the symbol, again for that. You're very familiar with this because you see it every time 5 comes around. This is the Hierophant. The Hierophant is the one who connects. The Hebrew letter Vav assigned to it is about, it's a hook that connects. It's hooking together the spiritual and the physical. That is what the Hierophant does, the spiritual teacher. It is the one that hooks them together and then brings that forth into life to understand. So therefore, at that place, at the 5, we are all reminded that we have the opportunity to connect with the spiritual. We hook together. And as we do so, we find that our lives are affected in a very positive way because we are moving forth according to the plan set forth by the Creator, as opposed to trying to make our way through this earthly maze in our own way. It's a little bit better at times to have that higher influence. It certainly makes things much more exciting. Now, one thing I would like to add on to here and start incorporating is the Jewish calendar. Okay, so the Jewish calendar here, this is, open this up a bit more so you can see it better. Jewish calendar here, we are currently in the month. On the Gregorian calendar, as we know, it's April, but in the Jewish calendar it is Nisan. 5774 would be the year. And if we go to find out what today is, today would be the 3rd of Nisan. And we could see coming up ahead, we have the Passover coming up. Passover first day is on the 15th. However, Passover begins on the evening of the 14th, Monday the 14th. And then Passover will run from the 15th all the way until the 22nd. Okay, so that's there. I want to make sure I incorporate this because I see this as an important piece of information that now needs to be added to the mix. So what I'd like to know, if you could maybe send me some comments or some emails, let me know what you think about this opening section. I'm trying to incorporate information into the show that helps us understand where we're going each day, what it's about, and maybe there's some things that I should add that I don't have in there. So send me an email, let me know. Or if you think that what I've got going on here makes sense to you and it's helping you, then let me know that too. I mean, for myself, these are tools that I use. And everything on this show, if I bring forth an article, I read the article. If there's a video, I'm watching the video. If there's a book, I'm reading the books. I'm very interactive with everything that I'm doing on this show. I feel that it's important if I'm going to share this information that I am, aware of what is going on and connected to it as you are. So for me, this is all part of the way that I start each day. Even if it's not doing the show on the weekends, I get up and I do exactly the same thing because I want to understand what the energies are around me so that as I go out into the world, I can make better use of those energies and how I fit in synchronicity with those. All right, there you have it. That gets us started. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. For all those of you who may not know, it's Dirk Bradshaw. Dirk Bradshaw hasn't been on the show for a while, but you do hear his voice every day with the UFO news, and we will get him back again. He's out there traveling around, and he'll be back. Anyway, our first story here. Witness observed saucer-shaped UFO over Bromley, United Kingdom. A man claims to have seen a UFO flying over Bromley. Last Monday, a local businessman, Anthony Wilson, was in his mother's home in Sydenham. Around 10 p.m., he and a friend were looking out a window in a southeasterly direction at the night sky. Mr. Wilson said, "We were looking in the direction of Bromley North and saw a very, very sharp, bright light, blinking on and off in a static position. Then a smaller object below it began to move very, very, very fast. We could tell the difference because there was a helicopter hovering nearby and aeroplanes in the sky. It moved at lightning speed. It took two of us to track it by eye, and then it was out of the field of vision. It was one of those moments when as soon as it was gone, we were like, what was that? I don't know if it was the government. I don't know if it was an extraterrestrial. I don't know what it was." All right, so there you go. This is a depiction, not the actual UFO. He didn't have a camera. It just happened quick, as he said. Now we move from there over to Newport Beach, California. This is a sighting that takes us back to a couple of weeks ago. It says, here's a new submission for review, please, of new footage shot from my apartment in Newport Beach, California, March 18th to 26th. Filmed on March 18th through the 26th from my deck in Newport Beach, California. The video covers 20 plus UFO captures filmed during the day and night. We highlighted select clips with digital filters to enhance the images. The video features various kinds of orbs, rods, cigars, UFOs, a morphing UFO, an orb with a force field, and a large swarm of cigar UFOs filmed over Newport Beach. The footage was captured. A friend of mine lives out in the Hermosa Beach area. He's been seeing a number of things over the beach, calling me, telling me all the weird things he sees going on. So I'm glad that this one has been captured. Alright, that's pretty interesting. And then here's another one. Alright. Very cool. There's a lot. Yeah, look at all these. Wow. I don't know what's going on there, but there's something quite going on.
Here's a close-up without the filters.
Look at that. So what do you think those are? Pretty fascinating, whatever it is. Alright. So I'm going to move on from there. Like I said, the video is 8.5 minutes in length. The link is available at firstcontactradio.com, so you could check it out and see what you think about these. Alright, let's move on from here. Next, we're going to go to Washington, D.C. and the March 31st. Here we have a couple of orbs, lights over the White House. Laszlo recorded these UFOs over Washington, D.C. this week. He used a live cam to do it. Live cams enable UFO researchers to be everywhere at once and record it. Try it sometimes. Okay, and here's the video itself is quite lengthy. It's 30 minutes. And you can just go through the video here. I'm just going to move through it. Okay, here's a blinking light in the White House. Obviously, at the White House, they are fully aware of what's going on there because they do have guards stationed on the roof and all around, so I'm sure they saw this and were very aware. Okay. So this is for you to check out. See what you think about this. As I said, it's 30 minutes, so you got plenty of sighting going on there. So are they looking in at the White House, wondering what's going on? Are there beings on this who are assisting in something? Are they observing? Not sure. But the link is available, firstcontactradio.com. Okay. Now we're going to go from there over to Bugibba, Malta. This was on the 2nd of April, the other day. This is a triangle-shaped UFO hovering in the night sky above Bugibba, small town in Malta. Alright, there we go. There's our sighting right there. This image here, it has 3 lights. We only see the 2 and then a small one right now, so they're going to obviously change. As we can see, this one continues to get bigger as it moves along, and this 4th one in here, so it's making its way to look just like that picture there. Alright, moving along from Malta. Next, we're going to go to Antarctica. Alien remains. 3 new elongated skulls uncovered in Antarctica. There's what the skulls are. Smithsonian scientist finds 3 elongated skulls in Antarctica. Smithsonian archaeologist Damian Walters and his team have uncovered 3 elongated skulls in the region of La Palais, Antarctica. The discovery came as a total surprise to the world of archaeology, as they are the first human remains uncovered from Antarctica, thought never to have been visited by humans until the modern age. We just can't believe it. We didn't just find human remains on Antarctica, we found elongated skulls. I have to pinch myself every time I wake up. I just can't believe it. This will redefine our view of mankind's history as a whole, excitedly explains M. Walters. Elongated skulls have been found in Peru and Egypt, proving past civilizations have made contact long before history books want to acknowledge. But this discovery is plain incredible. It shows that there was contact thousands of years ago between civilizations in Africa, South America, and Antarctica. Elongated skulls are thought to have been a common deformation done upon children of the elite in many ancient cultures, tells us a spokesman of the Smithsonian Institute in New York. It was done by wrapping cloth around the infant's head when the skull is not yet in a solid state. This characteristic was used to amplify different traits between the higher ranking classes of society and the lower classes. But these elongated skulls are much, much longer than normal human skulls would be. Purposeful cranial deformation can change the shape of a skull, but it cannot increase the volume of the skull. In addition, these skulls have quite a few other important physical characteristics that greatly set them apart from normal human skulls. This knowledge is incredibly important, regardless of what these skulls end up being, human or otherwise. It is important for unraveling the history of our past. These are obviously an incredible mysterious group of people. Now the thing in everyone's mind is, are these skulls alien? Are they extraterrestrial? Alien remains, 3 elongated skulls. Okay, there we go right there. Again, that's what they look like. Okay, pretty fascinating. But we've seen more of this. We know what's going on. Science is just uncovering what many have known for a long time. And now from there, we go over to this site here. It's called theancientaliens.com. Now, this is not the Ancient Aliens show, but something else, just named similar. Here's information about Puma Punku. Nestled in the remains of the ancient city of Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, is the Mesolithic ruins called Puma Punku. Archaeologists believe the site to be the cradle of civilization in South America, predating the Mayans. Evidence found in the region of Bolivia suggests the area was a flourishing center for pre-Columbian culture and commerce as early as 600 AD. However, recent discoveries of monolithic structures 15 to 20 meters under the surface of the nearby Lake Titicaca off the coast of Puerto Acosta established that the civilization may date back as much as 12,000 years earlier. This calculation comes from archaeologist Hugo Barrio Rojo, who calculated the depth of the structures, found means that this area of Lake Titicaca was above water level at some time in the past. Sedimentary evidence places this time between 11,700 years and 10,800 years BC. This would mean that Tiwanaku is the oldest civilization known to man. Puma Punku is the large temple complex on the edge of Tiwanaku. Inca oral and written traditions tell of the site being the location where the father god Viracocha created earth and humans. Their legends explain that Viracocha created humans from the earth on great rock. He sectioned the rock and sent two giant servants to name the tribes of the world. The pinnacle of Puma Punku's site is the gateway of the sun that depicts Viracocha coming through a type of stargate. The carving is created from a single 12-ton stone. Scattered about the site are many monolithic stones that are precisely cut and rooted in multiple levels with perfect angles and straight lines. Many of the blocks are cut in perfect interlocking shapes, a feat far beyond the primitive civilization that used stone and bronze hand tools. The only explanation for this precision work is the use of machine tools. Similar to the diamond-tip quarry saws, masonry drills, and CNC routers used today and powered by electricity or internal combustion engines. No archaeologist or scientist can offer any other explanation for the amazing existence of Puma Punku stonework. The stories of Viracocha and the giant servants must have been primitive interpretations of visitation by highly intelligent aliens that possessed the technology to make the structures present at Puma Punku. The stories of Viracocha's creation of mankind and then destroying it with a great flood is consistent with the ancient Sumerian text account of the Anunnaki and even the Judeo-Christian Bible's Old Testament creation stories and the Great Flood. How could all of these disparate civilizations develop the same creation and destruction by flood stories unless they were independent accounts of real events that were documented by humans under the direction of ancient aliens who brought the technology for machines, language, and genetic invention? Well, there's more to this. Here, I'll finish the rest. On the shores of Lake Titicaca, the primary warm source for the Tiwanaku region, archaeologists found a unique stone dish named Fuente Magna. The amazing fact about the artifact is that it's covered in Proto-Sumerian writing. Why is this shocking? Because the two civilizations are divided by almost 5,000 miles, a vast ocean, and a lack of technological ability to build vessels capable of crossing the ocean. In addition, the ancient Sumerian language was not used in this pre-Columbian civilization. So how did it get there, and why was it so highly regarded that this appears on pottery at the time? When Spanish explorers landed in Bolivia, the inhabitants of Tiwanaku region thought that the gods of Viracocha had returned. Their oral traditions describe the giants as having light skin and reddish hair. The Spanish explorers had light skin than the other Colombians and wore shiny armor and arrived in large ships that had never been known to these people. Did ancient aliens that had lighter skin and reddish hair visit this area and build the monuments? Present with advanced tools? The evidence points at this most likely explanation. Okay. There's a picture of the bowls there. There's the writing on the inside. Okay, and a few examples of some of the structures here. A nice little video to check out. 11 minutes, 22 seconds in length. Alright. Now, as you can see, this is page 1 of 6, so there's a lot more to read here. But this is where I'm going to stop for today, so I'm going to allow you to be able to check it out on your own. Again, that is not the ancient alien site. It is related simply only to it by the fact that it is about a subject matter that ancient aliens covered. Now, just a thought to throw out there. You know, I met the guys who did Ancient Aliens when I was in Roswell in 2012. And we were talking, we had some great conversations, and during the course of it, one of the things that they did explain and had issues with was how the networks would treat the programs that they would do. That they said that they worked really hard, they put the programs together, and then the networks would always want to change, do some re-edits to the programming, and it always irritated them because sometimes it took their information and put it forth in a different manner. So that was one of their challenges, to see that over the years that they could keep that from happening. So I know there are those out there who watch the show, and I see on forums and message boards complaints that, you know, there are problems with the show and people don't always agree with the information. If that's the case, consider what I've just shared with you and what they had told me, and that there are challenges in all fields. We do have these networks out here around the world that do have their own agendas, and the agenda is not necessarily about putting out the truth. Usually the agendas for these networks is about making money, and that oftentimes in the business world trumps telling the truth, because telling the truth, well, doesn't necessarily make you the amount of money that telling lies or exaggerating truths can make. So there you have it. That is our UFO news. We've got a lot more information. Today we're going to continue on with our study of the Kryballion. I'll be back to that momentarily, but listen to this. This is Great Spirit. Here we go.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
All right. Great Spirit. I'd like to say that I wrote that song, but my only contribution in there was I wrote it down. I had gone to Chaco Canyon. I was there for 3 days camping. Had a great experience there. And I got home. I sat down at my desk, and I heard that song start playing in my head. And then a voice telling me, write this one down. I did, and that's what you're hearing. So, continuing on, before we get into the Kryballion, I have one article I want to show you. Scientific research suggests we unconsciously react to events up to 10 seconds before they happen. Can your brain detect events before they even occur? That was the stunning conclusion of a 2012 meta-analysis of experiments from 7 independent laboratories over the last 35 years, which found that the human body can apparently detect random, delivered stimuli occurring 1 to 10 seconds in the future. In the studies, physiological readings were taken as participants were subjected to unpredictable events designed to activate the sympathetic nervous system, as well as the neutral events which did not activate the nervous system. Those readings showed that the nervous system aligned with the nature of the event, and what's more, the magnitude of pre-event response corresponded with the magnitude of the post-event response. In a more recent paper, researchers have critically analyzed these findings, considering possible mundane explanations for results and also the implications of the results if they truly do point to a paradigm-shaking discovery. All right, there's a lot to this article. I'm going to leave it to you. The reason I wanted to bring that up was because it is talking about the aspect of the mind, something we're about to talk about here. Just goes to show that, the mind is very powerful. We have this ability to use telepathy. We have this ability, we call it precognition. Science is just kind of catching up with this because science looks to prove the things that go on spiritually. But those who are doing the spiritual practices know that these things exist because they've been using these and doing these things for a long time without any scientific explanation necessary. Faith is what is simply required in many instances, and science does not necessarily move by faith, but moves according to looking at information, fact-based information. It's a different way of looking at, but ultimately we see that they come about to the same results as those who simply were exercising their faith. Perhaps if science exercised their faith, instead of worrying about all the facts at the time, they might get at their conclusions much sooner. But humankind needs to evolve at the process it needs to evolve at, and if that's what it takes to get there, then perhaps those who are only scientific-minded might eventually get to the point where they're able to exercise their faith because they do understand that these things are real as proven by science. Now, the Kryballion. We've been looking at this the last couple weeks, and we're going to continue to do so. There are 7 aspects to the Kryballion. We're going to do one of these each week, so for the next 7 weeks, you're going to be hearing one of these particular lessons. That way you can read it, spend some time contemplating it, and then next week we'll move to the next one. So last week we did a review of what all the 7 were. Today we're going to move on to the first of these, mental transmutation. Mind, as well as all metals and elements, may be transmuted from state to state, degree to degree, condition to condition, pole to pole, vibration to vibration. True hermetic transmutation is a mental art. Kryballion. As we have stated, the Hermeticists were the original alchemists, astrologers, and psychologists, Hermes having been the founder of these schools of thought. From astrology has grown modern astronomy, from alchemy has grown modern chemistry, from the mystic psychology has grown the modern psychology of the schools. But it must not be supposed that the ancients were ignorant of that which modern schools suppose to be their exclusive and special property. The records engraved in the stones of ancient Egypt show conclusively that the ancients had a full comprehensive knowledge of astronomy, the very building of the pyramid showing the connection of their design and the study of astronomical science. Nor were they ignorant of chemistry, for the fragments of the ancient writings show that they were acquainted with the chemical properties of things. In fact, the ancient theories regarding physics are being slowly verified by the latest discoveries of modern science, notably those relating to the constitution of matter. Nor must it be supposed that they were ignorant of the so-called modern discoveries in psychology. On the contrary, the Egyptians were especially skilled in the science of psychology, particularly in the branches of that modern schools ignore, but which nevertheless are being uncovered under the name of psychic science, which is perplexing the psychologists of today and making them reluctantly admit that there must be something to it after all. The truth is that beneath the material, chemistry, astronomy, and psychology, that is, the psychology in its phase of brain action, The ancients possessed a knowledge of transcendental astronomy called astrology, of transcendental chemistry called alchemy, of transcendental psychology called mystic psychology. They possessed the inner knowledge as well as the outer knowledge, the latter alone being possessed by modern scientists. Among the many secret branches of knowledge possessed by the Hermeticists was that known as mental transmutation, which forms the subject matter of this lesson. Transmutation is a term usually employed to designate the ancient art of the transmutation of metals, particularly of the base metals, into gold. The word transmute means to change from one nature, form, or substance into another, to transform, and accordingly mental transmutation means the art of changing and transforming mental states, forms, and conditions into others. So you may see that mental transmutation is the art of mental chemistry, if you like the term, a form of practical mystic psychology. But this means far more than appears on the surface. Transmutation, alchemy, and chemistry on the mental plane is important enough in its effects, to be sure, and if the art stopped there, it would still be one of the most important branches of the study known to man. But this is only the beginning. Let us see why. The first of the 7 Hermetic principles is the principle of mentalism, the axiom of which is the all is mind, the universe is mental, which means that the underlying reality of the universe is mind, and that the universe itself is mental, that is, existing in the mind of the all. We shall consider this principle in succeeding lessons, but let us see the effect of the principle if it be assumed to be true. If the universe is mental in nature, then mental transmutation must be the art of the changing the conditions of the universe along the lines of matter, force, and mind. So you see, therefore, that mental transmutation is really the magic of which the ancient writers had so much to say in their mystical works, and about which they gave so few practical instructions. If all be mental, then the art which enables one to transmute mental conditions must render the master the controller of the material conditions, as well as those ordinarily called mental. As a matter of fact, none but advanced master alchemists have been able to attain the degree of power necessary to control the grosser physical conditions, such as the control of the elements of nature, the production or cessation of tempests, the production and cessation of earthquakes and other great physical phenomena. But that such men have existed and do exist today is a matter of earnest belief to all advanced occultists and all schools. That the masters exist and have these powers, the best teachers assure their students, having the experience which justify them in such beliefs and statements. These masters do not make public exhibitions of their powers, but seek seclusion from crowds of men in order to better work their may along the path of attainment. We mention their existence at this point merely to call attention to the fact that their power is entirely mental and operates along the lines of the higher mental transmutation on the Hermetic principle of mentalism. The universe is mental, the Kryballion. But students and Hermeticists of lesser degree of the masters, the initiates and teachers, are able to freely work along the mental plane. A mental transmutation, in fact, all that we call psychic phenomena, mental influence, mental science, new thought phenomena, etc., operates along the same general lines, for there is but one principle involved, no matter by what name the phenomena be called. The student and the practitioner of mental transmutation works among the mental plane, transmuting mental conditions, states, etc., into others, according to various formulas more or less efficacious. The various treatments, affirmations, denials, etc. of the schools of mental science are but formulas, often quite imperfect and unscientific, of the Hermetic art. The majority of modern practitioners are quite ignorant compared to the ancient masters, for they lack the fundamental knowledge upon which the work is based. Not only may the mental states, etc., of one states be changed or transmuted by Hermetic methods, but also by the states of others may be and are constantly transmuted in the same way, usually unconsciously, but often consciously, by some understanding of the laws and principles, in cases where people affected are not informed of the principles of their self-protection. And more than this, many students and practitioners of modern mental science know every material condition, depending upon the minds of others, may be changed or transmuted in accordance with the earnest desire, will, and treatments of person desiring changed conditions in life. The public are so generally informed regarding these things at present that we do not deem it necessary to mention the same length, our purpose at the point being merely to show the Hermetic principle and art underlying all of these various forms of practice, good and evil, for the force can be used in opposite directions according to Hermetic principles of polarity. In this little book we shall state the basic principles of mental transmutation, that all who read may grasp the underlying principles and thus possess the master key that will unlock the many doors of the principle of polarity. We shall now proceed to a consideration of the first of the Hermetic 7 principles, the principle of mentalism, which is explained in the truth that the all is the mind, the universe is mental. In the words of the Kryballion, we do not close attention and careful study of this great principle as part of our students, for it is really the basic principle of the whole Hermetic philosophy and of the Hermetic art of mental transmutation. Alright, so there you go. That's gets us started here. Kind of ties in with this series, The Life and Teaching of the Masters of the Far East. Have you been reading or had a chance to read any of those? Very insightful books, and they talk about this exact thing, how we use our minds to affect the consciousness not only of ourselves but of others. And the whole idea is to bring forth that God power within us, to bring it forth into manifestation. Not that it's a power that is unavailable, but that it is a power available to each and all of us. And all we have to do is make contact with it. So this first principle deals exactly with that. How we make contact with that mental principle, how we use that mental principle in life to transmute any and all conditions. And many of you have practiced this and you know how it works. We could see the workings of this in society, though not in a spiritual manner, but the workings of the media. They put out these ideas and people watch the news programs and then they walk away believing what they saw was true because it is repeated over and over and over. Something is being done to affect the conscious mind. And that is what our intent is, to find ways to affect the conscious minds not only in the world, but starting with ourselves first. Because if we make the changes in ourselves, those around us will all be changed as well. Because the way in which we interact with each other will be changed simply by starting with ourselves first. So, this is the first principle. If we go back, you can see I can do a back button here, and we can see that we have the whole structure here of all of what is going on. And that is the first part of the Kryballion. Let us move on from there. This is an article called The Spiritual Reality of Near-Death Experiences. It's come to us from Greg Prescott at In5D. There is a spiritual awakening going on right now in mass proportions and is growing exponentially. By the end of the near-death experience video, you'll have no doubts about the true divine reason for being here. You'll feel uplifted and re-energized. Please share this with others. There are many commonalities amongst virtually every person who has had a near-death experience. The video encompasses these commonalities to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that there is so much more to our existence than what we can perceive on a third-dimensional reality. If you are anything like me, you will instantly feel connected to these people and their experiences. Here's a few highlights. We have the initial death. My life really began the night of my NDE. I am filled with love and a peace that I cannot explain. I was wishing that I could communicate with the medical team that this was okay. You do not need to save this girl. I was happy. I was peace. I was in knowingness. This other one, I entered the tunnel and I floated towards the light. This amazingly beautiful, peaceful, loving, all-encompassing, and unconditional light. You really can't express it in human words because it completely limits the experience. There was a feeling that was coming through the tunnel of love. No matter what happens to you, you look for the light and you go with that and everything will be fine. The light was so bright that it was brighter than 10,000 suns, and I immediately said that this should be burning my retinas, but it wasn't. It was a gentle but powerful light. It was pulling me like a gentle magnet. In that moment, you often remember who you are. You have access to divine knowledge and all of the mysteries of the universe. In that white light, every question I ever had any idea about what was what and how things worked was immediately answered. When I was in the light, I knew everything the light knew because all of the universe. I knew all of the universe. I knew everything. I didn't have a question for the light. Why? Because I knew all of the answers. Here we have another one. The other side of the tunnel. It's impossible to describe. It's so wonderful I can't stop trying to find the words for it. I was in this place, but it wasn't a place like here. It was an environment, an atmosphere. It was love. I kept thinking, I'm home, I'm home. That's all I kept thinking. It felt like home. It was amazing. It was total bliss, total joy, total love, total acceptance. I felt like that's where I belong, and that's the way it's supposed to feel all the time. But of course, that's not the way it feels here on Earth. All judgments, all of the anxieties of this world just melted off me like butter on a hot counter. The light welcomed me and absorbed me. I was a part of the light. Here we have this being came up to me, a very, very powerful, loving being who just took me in its arms and held me, loving me for exactly who I am, my quirks, my virtues, my strengths, my weaknesses, everything about me. This being was all things that ever were, are, or will be. This being also contained perfect knowledge of how everything works, perfect justice and compassion. This being was loving me, sending me this perfect unconditional love, knowing everything about me and just loving me just the same. The next thing I knew, I was standing in a circle of these 12-foot beings of light. They felt more like family than the people I had seen previously. Here I started seeing my life pass by, my infancy, my childhood. You see who you are completely. You see your flaws, you see your gifts, and you judge yourself because everything is reflected back to you. All around me were miniature motion pictures of my lives. I could see, I could touch, I could feel. I could sense every emotion that was taking place in all of those lifetimes. I could recall not only what it felt like, but how I was thinking. The light knew everything about what I thought, ever did, or will do. It knew everything, and the light welcomed me. It said, "Don't be afraid." The light was a really fantastic sense of humor. We were reviewing some of these things I did in my own lifetime. We'd be laughing at how serious I took them, because life down here is an illusion. It's a game, so don't take it so serious. I was recalling how others were feeling by the way I was behaving. And then let's go. Let's see, we have a couple more here. This one is, we're laughing, we're talking, we're just having a great time, and then the light says to me, "Andy, you have to go back now." "I'm not going back," I said to the light. "I don't think so. I'm home. I'm staying." Then the light said to me for a second time, "Andy, you're going back." And I said, "No, you don't understand. I don't want to go back into that body. I don't want to go back onto Earth. I'm home here in the light." Then the light said for the third time, "Andy, you're going back." And as soon as I heard the K from the word back, I was pushed back into my body, filled with pain and anxiety. I was crying. All of my classmates thought I was crying from the pain of the drowning, but I was crying because I was no longer in the light. I was back on Earth. I wanted to be back with the light. I heard a voice say to me, "Not now, my daughter." I felt myself getting whooshed backwards, floating back as fast as I could go. I remember the sensation of being back in my body with a thud. It looked at me and said, "Now it's time to go." I found myself settling in a hospital bed and 3 doctors hanging over me. I remember saying, "I'm not going back there because it's nasty. People are mean. It's like walking through hot, hip, deep molasses. People are nasty to each other. It's just bad, and I'm not going back." I really wanted to stay because it was so good there. The next thing I know, I woke up in the emergency room at the hospital and said, "Oh my God, what happened?" And the nurse said, "You were in a car accident." I said, "That's not what I mean," because I wasn't supposed to come back. I looked into his eyes and said, "There's no way I'm going to leave. I'm not going back." I came into a hospital bed in Georgia 2 weeks later. And one last one here. It says, even though you believe someone is dead, they can still hear you. They still know what's written in your heart. You're always here with the light. If you know it, every one of us is always connected to and one with our source if we can get beyond our mind. We just had the opportunity to connect with our source and learn that life is and live an opportunity that is giving to others, that we receive and become more valuable. Not what we get to have, but what we give. My soul chose to come to Earth. I remember where I was before I was born. I remember that all of those souls chose to come here. This is a wonderful university, and we're not here by random accident. We're not here as victims. That we come here to school, to choose to study, to learn, to grow. There is a divine plan for Earth. There is a reason for being here. What I remember is not the answer. I don't know if anyone who has brought back all the answers. I don't think we're allowed to. I remember that I knew this, and I said, "Oh yes, of course, I already knew that. How could I have ever forgotten?" I lost the perfect knowledge as we all do, but I know that life continues, that we are loved, and I also had the gift of seeing this love and light all around me in everything and everyone. Your priorities change because you realize the most important thing is love. The only thing is love. That's really the only thing there is, except sometimes it's expressed as fear, the opposite side of it. All of that pretty petty stuff doesn't matter. We all know that we came back with a mission. Most of us don't know what it is at the time, but we know that we had one. Now I think my mission and everybody's mission is to be here in 3 dimensions, in this time, in this space, and to hold the energy of the light of God. Just hold it. We don't have to do anything. Just hold the energy. And as we hold it, we help other people around us find that energy and feel that energy. Humanity is changing. Humanity is evolving, and this is the time. And all you have to remember is there is nothing out there to fear. You are a divine, powerful being. We are. We are a part of God. We are part of love. That's who we are. We are the heart of God, and we are here to bring to the planet Earth, to create heaven on earth. And we can do it in love. Being in the light was being in unconditional love. Unconditional love means forgiveness. Unconditional forgiveness causes you to smile forever. Santos Bonici once said something profound. He stated that we begin the dying process once the sperm fertilizes the egg. We were alive before that moment. And of course, here's the video that you've been hearing about. 26 minutes in length. Check out this video. Very, very insightful. Things that I just went over are in that video. All right? All right. So, very important that we connect in with ourselves. And you see that all of this stuff, all of this information connects. Whether it's the Kryballion, whether it's life and teachings, the near death, all are talking about similar experiences of a place, a plane of energy, and how we take that energy and we use this energy to make things better. And as we are down here on this earth, we certainly have that opportunity because it is like a university, isn't it? We have all of these different classes that are going on, all of these different grade levels. We have people from kindergarten on up in their understanding of life, and we deal with them every day. And part of our objective is to learn how to deal with them so that we can all move together forward. That seems to be what I'm learning each and every day, and I'm sure that you're learning something along those lines as well. All right, here's our message from today. This is the Arcturian group.
The Arcturian group.
March 30th, 2014, channeled by Marilyn Raphael.
Greetings, dear ones. We see many starting to accept and understand change in their lives, some even saying, "Why didn't we think of this before?" People are losing the fear of change, which is a big part of evolution. That is how it works. Never be afraid to try something new, and then if you find that it does not work, that is fine. The sky does not fall down. Learning to be open to new ideas and change on all levels allows an individual to likewise receive on all levels. The inner door opens. Many of the so-called older generation continue to hold themselves back through the belief that there are no better ways of doing things than their life experiences have taught them. They have become comfortable in routine, refusing to even contemplate other ways of seeing the world, and are missing opportunities to spiritually grow. Allowing oneself to contemplate new ideas does not mean living lives without joy or fun in work and activity, nor does it mean that your current way of doing and seeing either globally or personally is wrong and has to change. Being open simply means a willingness to let go of resistance and not being so locked into what is known and familiar that any change is impossible.
Arcturian group wishes to speak about energy.
Energy is the essence of all things, for it is divine consciousness and the substance of all form. Energy in its purest is white light and is interpreted according to the consciousness of each individual. The halo of light seen around saints and masters is simply their energy field, so filled with pure light that many can see it. Energy, being omnipresent consciousness, can never be lost, and only changes form. You are aware of and experiencing energy at all times, but are not always aware of what you are feeling. You may sense a heaviness in places like old battlefields that still hold the vibration of fear and suffering. Bars often carry a very heavy third-dimensional energy which can be felt immediately. Most have experienced the peace and lightness of a cathedral or simple country church, where the prayers of many throughout time have created almost a presence of light energy. The healing energy of nature in an undeveloped forest or beside a flowing stream is felt by almost everyone, and is the reason these powerful and sacred places need to be protected. All humans experience energy but do not always understand what it is they are feeling. Channels often say, the energy is not yet in place for this or that to happen. This means that the level and alignment of energy needed to bring a particular event into manifestation has not yet been reached. All living things feel energy and interpret on the level of their state of consciousness. Scientists will most often interpret it as physical, psychiatrists as emotional, and intellectuals as ideas and brain power. These are interpretations based on their states of consciousness, their belief system. Animals are very receptive to energy and easily sense and respond to the fear, anger, love, or whatever that is being projected by others, human or animal. Color and the sacred rays are facets of source energy, pure light, each carrying unique vibrational qualities but still in and of light. As evolution moves to ever-deepening levels, new colors never before seen will manifest. Every aura has varying colors representing of the energy of the individual. This is why individuals are drawn to or look best in certain colors, and this is why purple is considered a royal color, the perfect blending of red physical and blue mental. Ancient healing temples, and some healers now, used color therapy to adjust vibrational frequencies. Make use of the violet flame, seventh ray, as taught by Adamus Saint Germain, for it is the vibrational energy of transmutation. Flood yourselves with it and flow it to the world and others if guided, without attaching any purpose or goal. Use this tool often in your meditation and inner work, as the violet flame transmutes denser energies into the lighter, dissolving all that has no law to support it. All energy is light, but its frequencies are lowered through the thoughts and beliefs of the unevolved third-dimensional consciousness, thus moving it into slower, denser vibration. Light versus dark, duality. The human eye is as of yet unable to perceive the lighter, faster frequencies, and this is why most do not see their guides or those in light bodies and believe that the material physical is all there is. This will change. Because of oneness, each vibrational level draws to itself similar ideas and people of like frequency. This is what makes relationships work, not looks, money, status, or anything else the world may believe. Relationships are built within a somewhat same level of resonance. This is why many are drawn to those of light. They are seeking their own light but don't know that it is within, and so look outside to others. At this powerful time of change, the vibrational frequencies of your physical, emotional, and mental bodies are becoming lighter, which is why many are having physical symptoms requiring the need to lay down and rest. The releasing of old dense energies stored through lifetimes in the physical, emotional, and mental bodies takes a lot of basic physical energy, leaving many exhausted for no apparent reason. Trust the process, rest when you need it, and drink lots of clean water. This process will complete at some point following the clearings, integration of lighter energies, and the DNA activations you are ready for. Energy is all these things, and more, much more. Energy is the vibrational frequency expression of the divine, and as you evolve ever more deeply into truth, your personal energy field will become lighter and brighter, more representative of the reality of your true essence. We are the Arcturian Group, March 30th, 2014.
Alright, very nice. So that leads us to our meditation for today. So go ahead and close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath. Exhale again. I want you to imagine the energy as it flows through your body. And I want you just to imagine this energy on the mental plane. And understand how you are connected to this mental plane individually, and how we are all collectively connected to this mental plane. And as we understand the responsibility we have in life, we learn to use the mental transmutation to transmute darkness into light, negativity into positivity, and we learn to share with others. So let's imagine using our minds to put out positive vibrations, and let's just see these vibrations moving from our minds out into the world. And imagine them as vibrations of love. Imagine them as vibrations of peace, of prosperity, abundance, success, truthfulness. And let's just imagine all of these wonderful vibrations coming off of us. So imagine the ideas and the words of love, life, harmony, peace, and perfection being the vibrations that we send out into the world. From your heart chakra, see the color green of the heart chakra, and let's imagine that color expanding outward, filling your entire being, filling your room, moving outward into your neighborhood, expanding further into the city, into the state, and into the country where you reside, and then across the ocean to all of the other countries, until this energy completely encompasses the whole globe. And see the whole globe bathed in this love. And imagine the word love like a banner revolving around the planet. Love, love. And imagine that everyone living upon this planet, whether they are aware of it or not, feels this love. And this love allows them to remember more of who they are and what they are about. Let's imagine this day being a day of inspiration. And as we go through the world, let's find the inspirations and allow ourselves to be inspired by that which is around us. Imagine the inspirations from the wind, from the sun, from the water, from the earth, from the animals, from the people that we see. And as we listen and pay attention to these inspirations all around us, we find and realize that life speaks to us all the time. All we need to do is listen, to be aware. So let's just imagine ourselves now going on this journey, feeling the inspirations of life and therefore sending out the inspirations that we receive as well. And let's imagine our subconscious mind continue on that journey. And let's bring our conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That is our show for today. Thank you very much for being here. You know, if there's certainly one hope I have for the show, it's that others find the inspiration in the show as I do. Because I can tell you, I am definitely changing by the things that I am reading and learning and studying as well. And I hope that you are as well. And as we change, we will help to change others. So it matters not to me how many hits come to the site on a daily basis, for I know that all who are supposed to be there will be there. And others will come in due time, and others will be inspired by those who are listening in the same way that I've been inspired by those that I have listened to as well. So have a great day, my friends. Keep the faith. It's the most important thing. Remember love, and just have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.